What is up, heads? Podheads? I don't know. But welcome to another episode of the Podioslave podcast. My name is Tony, joined as always by Anthony.
What's going on, dude?
I pointed at the screen again. What's going on, man? This was a fun day. This is one that was 5 years in the making for us, and I don't know that we could have done this one 3 years ago with the reps that we had under our belt, but I'm so happy we were able to do it today.
You say 5 years. That's 5 years since we started the podcast, but the Daryl fandom started in probably 2000, 2001.
Yeah, yep.
Just with all his projects. I mean, obviously starting with Glassjaw. And we'll just cut to it. You clicked on the episode, you're here for Daryl. We're talking about Daryl of Head Automatica, Glassjaw, and a million other projects. And a lot of those do come up in this conversation. And we'll get to that in a minute, but this is what we do. Music podcast, interviews, album deep dives, random topics. We're just best friends talking about music that we've liked for the last 30 years. I think that's the punchline. Like, that's our niche, if we have one.
That's the niche, baby. Yep. If it's music, we probably have an opinion, and we probably want to talk about most of it. So, I mean, alt country, it could be any of it. You never know.
Ooh, that'll come up later.
That'll come up. That'll make sense later. But yeah, we've had a blast doing this for just about 5 years, coming up on that anniversary, and we've had folks from around this world as well. We had Alex from Crime and Stereo. We had Vinny Caruana a couple different times from the movie Life and I Am the Avalanche, amongst other projects with him as well. Just kind of the Incendiary guys. We've been all over the map in Long Island, and we've been all over the map with the country. So, and some of it the world too. I think recent episodes with folks from the UK and Oversize, and it's been a blast to do this. So, if you are a fan of music and like that world, check the website, check the back catalog. There's plenty of episodes back there for you. But this one was big.
Let's talk this one. I have a smirk on my face because this is one of those kind of holy grail guests,
Absolutely.
Daryl does not do a lot of press. A lot of his projects are kind of cryptic, and you'll learn a little more about that a little bit once we get chatting with him. But it's one that, like I said, we've been Glassjaw fans since the early 2000s, and then certainly with Head Automatica coming along in the mid 2000s. In projects before that, after it, we do touch on a lot of that. But this conversation, it's mostly focused on Head Automatica because they're back. Like, they're back.
Yeah.
Not just back, but back.
We wrote in our docs that we put together for all these, how back are you, in bold, underlined, exclamation point, question mark. And Daryl told us they're back, man. They're doing stuff. We, talked to them while they were together. So working on some stuff. So it's really exciting to have Head Automatica back. And it's really, the two songs are awesome. I know I've dug both Bear the Cross and Annulment at various points. I've listened to them on repeat. Great stuff. Excited for more to come, and there's more to come, which is pretty exciting. And he teases a little of that too.
Yeah, that was one thing is, how back are you? They played Furnace Fest a couple years ago. One new song last year, one new this year. They did a few headlining gigs with Crime and Stereo and Movie Life, and then Warped Tour. And it's like, as a fan, there's definitely a momentum build, right? And he gets
Absolutely.
he does touch on that, and he also talks about what's next for new music too, which I'm not going to spoil it. You'll have to listen. But I would say, this is just my opinion, I think since Propaganda, this is probably the most back they've been. Yeah,
I would agree. And it's exciting times if you're a fan of the band, and we are and have been for quite some time, 20 years. And let's dig into our conversation with Daryl Palumbo of Head Automatica right now.
Daryl Palumbo, live on the podcast. How you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
We're excited, man. This is a good one for us. We've been talking about Glassjaw for 20 years. We're talking about Head Automatic for 20 years. We're excited to talk to you.
Thanks. It's nice of you.
So, Daryl, we've been a podcast for 5 years. We've dedicated whole episodes to your projects, and actually, you've come up on interviews that we've had. Daryl, the man himself, has come up, and one of those times was your good friend Vinny Caruana.
Oh, I know Vinny very well. It's my man.
Yeah, he called back, and see if you remember this. In probably the mid to late 90s, you pushed him to be a vocalist. You guys were riding around in the Jeep. I don't know whose Jeep it was.
His. I didn't drive. I never drive.
So you were riding around his Jeep, singing along.
Every minute in his Jeep. Every minute of my life was spent in his Jeep or Beck's blue Caravan.
Hell yeah. Singing along to like Far and Silent Majority, and he said Face to Face, bands like that. And you pushed him to be a vocalist. So you remember those days?
I mean, I don't know if I was like, you gotta sing. Maybe I did. I'm sure I don't know. But every minute, all I did was just like play guitar and sing in his face, and we hung out every second. And eventually he was just singing. Yeah. It was logical. That's what everybody does, right? You do a
Yeah.
band. He was definitely going to be in a band. We were like hardcore guys. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so charismatic. Like he was obviously going to be in a band, whether he knew me or not. I'm pretty sure that would happen. But
Well, you could take a little bit of credit for it. I mean,
well, we definitely in the beginning, like we made some things together, like that were kind of like intended for that part of his life. Definitely, that felt great. That was a great time.
hell yeah, man. So yeah, so you've come up before on the pod. We hadn't thought about Head Automatica until fairly recently when we saw the socials kind of come back to life. So we
I
got
hadn't
excited.
either. I hadn't either.
Okay, so what happened? What changed to make the wheels get moving again?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. In my head, it was always like a specific sound to a particular time, and I guess I was making a lot of music like that. And I still write a lot of stuff like that. Pop music, edgy pop music, pop music. I love that stuff. So I don't know. Maybe it was just time to slow that down at the time. I don't know. But all of a sudden, I just kind of made sense. Ah, made sense. I just kind of heard it again. Like I heard a sound for it now, and maybe how to apply. Maybe how to apply. Maybe it just made sense. It's the sound, and then I always was getting like asked to do it or offers or put more music out or I was just always there in the background. But I was like, I don't know. It wasn't time. I guess it was just time. I don't know. I just feel like I heard a sound that it finally it was time to happen, and maybe like everything kind of clicked in my head.
It's funny, like as fans, and you can probably appreciate this with your favorite bands, like you think the artist is so intentional, you think it's so calculated, when the reality is it just fucking happens. Like
Yeah.
there's no plan, it just happens.
I mean, creating art is definitely. I mean, you have to plan maybe when you're gonna create a situation to create art because we're old, I'm older, so I have to make a situation where art will be created. But you kind of can't just be like, you know what? In about 20 years, I'm gonna think about Head Automatic again, rethink it. It is what it is. And it was like the anniversary of the first record, and now it's coming on the second record, it's 20th, I think. It just kind of all happens, but you have to just kind of feel connected to it. It's like I didn't even really know how to present maybe that style of stuff I was doing in a different way, and I moved on. I don't know. I make a lot of music, so it's like I get bored. I get bored with things I love and still love it, but I kind of disconnect from wanting to be it, embody it maybe for a second. I don't know. It's hard to put into words, but no, it's not very calculated at all.
Yeah.
So the door was never closed, though. It was always open slightly.
I mean, there's no doors that are closed in my life. I'm a pretty free flowing guy, I mean, whatever happens, if it's there, it's there. Yeah.
It's funny, like as fans of Daryl Palumbo, there's a camp that is frustrated by that. But me, I need some excitement in my life. I love your projects and then like the silence over the years. I love it.
It happens. We're from a place where like, I don't know. And me and Justin too, like we were just from a place where like if you don't make something every year, it doesn't mean you're not banned. A lot of bands we love didn't do that type of stuff. And also like I've never stopped making records and touring. There's never been one period in my life ever that has not had some sort of constant, releases and touring. And even if Glassjaw didn't play shows, no, even if we didn't put records out, rather for a minute, it was constantly, no, there were releases and we toured. I've never not toured. It never ends. I guess that's just what I am. Until it's not what I am, it's what I am.
So as of this recording, Bear the Cross is out. Annulment is out. It's been out for a couple weeks. What are the conversations that get you into the studio to put those songs together?
I'm just doing it all with my partner, my best friend, Richard Flesh, the artist. He's a visual artist, bass player. He's a phenomenal musician I've ever met. He's my brother. And we've made music together for so long. I made music with his brother. I had a studio and with his brother. We're from the same town. Him and I are just so close. And it's, everything that I like that's my head when we move towards, whether it's art or books, films and music, synthesizer sounds, sampling, his ability to play anything I can imagine, his ability to write like a monster too. Like we're just doing everything together. So, yeah. And then so I mean just doing it, and we just got when we get fired up, we make a lot of music. We were color film, him and I. That was we put out a record. We had a lot of material, but kind of like I don't know. I guess it kind of became Head Automatic again, but him and I have a lot of stuff, and when we get fired up, it's just like we need a sort of a venue to put it out. I mean, if it requires being put out, when we get fired up over something, and this kind of sound all really came together, and it was, and we have a lot of stuff ready, you know. Yeah, so it was time to put it out.
I love it. Is there a time when you're looking to flash and you're like, hey, it's time, like it's happening, like it's happening now? Because the one thing is you can get in there and then it just might be one song, but then it kind of snowballs into a lot of ideas, a lot of songs. Like, was there a moment where that's happening?
I mean, you know what? I don't even need to say it to sound like it's productive, but it's never. It's kind of never not that. Like when we're together as much as possible, just like as part of each other's lives. I live in Miami. He lives in New York. Still, I live in sunny Miami, which is raining on me right now, and I'm wearing a jacket, so it's evidently not very Miami today. But
right.
yeah, like we're always kind of together or verbally together or communicating at all times. So when we set aside time to make it that, here's the situation we're gonna create. It's just never not explosive. I mean, it really isn't. And there's just so much music that him and I have made together since like 2010 that it's but it's always in somewhat of the same vein. We really right as soon as we were working together, it's just like we love the same stuff. Stuff is the addictive stuff, the stuff that once you dig it, it's kind of you fall into all of these sorts of discoveries and albums and piecing together a lot of technique and writing and wrapping our heads around writing a lot of things that we wanted to achieve, and then together we really pieced a lot of pieces together over the years. Yeah.
When you go in with the thought that we're going to make a song or we're going to make a couple songs, do you have that already in your head and it's just a matter of making it happen? Or is it like, all right, we're getting together and now we're going to start bouncing stuff off each other?
Oh, everything. All of it. Yeah. All of it.
All of the above.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. You kidding? Yeah. If he's like, yeah, I have this for ad idea, and it's just like an MP3, an idea that, and it's like, yeah, that's just hit. So great. That sounds amazing. Let's just go. Let's go. I don't know. Yeah, no, I'll wait. Anything. Or start from nothing. Start from a joke sample, and then it becomes a very far out, wild production after about a few days of 20-hour heavy duty sessions, just me and him pacing around. And we don't, everything's like it's all done, a lot of it's in the box. We're doing it together at one of our cribs, And it's very comfortable and easy. Just nonstop, things flowing. So yeah, just whatever. However it starts. Luckily we're best buddies.
Yeah. You can
helps.
take it from anyone.
Don't, if you're listening, don't take that for granted. Like that, if you're best friends with the person you're creating anything with, you have a leg up.
And that comes before creating. Don't ever forget that. Creating is a very in the now release of sort of things, in the moment. I mean, realistically, the fact that you have somebody that you can even trust enough to play arts and crafts with that says something far bigger than the fact that you're playing arts and crafts with a buddy. It says a lot that you trust that person. Put that friendship first, and that creative relationship, in my experience, will really be a way longer lasting, beautiful, fruitful thing.
Yeah, it helps. It definitely helps to be. I mean, Anthony and I have known each other 30 years. We've been doing this for 5. So we had to know each other for 30 years before we go to shows for 25.
You know what I mean? You've been doing it 30 years, together. That's
so true.
Exactly.
We're building this thing, and it's only because of that you get across on a recording that the two of you are symbiotic. Take this thing on the same focus. It's beautiful.
So Daryl, no apparent record label, no major label producer. I feel like, and maybe, I don't know, I'd love to get your perspective on it. It feels like Head Automatica can finally be Head Automatica. Yeah. Is there any element of that?
I mean, it's way later for Head Automatica and Glassjaw. Those are like the two things that have taken up most of my life. I guess the things that kind of stuck around, right? I think you get it to a certain point where you kind of you see the strings that control the little marionettes, and you don't really you want to
Yeah.
cut the fucking chase, no, you know. And if you have the skill set to do it, I have a very specific skill set. I have a very specific thing I've spent my entire life doing, and if I can connect, you know, at a certain point you start connecting the dots, like, oh, I do a lot of these things. You know, like Richard and I do all of those things, and then Justin and I we do those things. So you know, the control. There's an element where you sort of have this arbitration of control. It's very paralyzing, and then the allure of, you know, $100,000 producers, and,
Right.
you know, again, you know, but wild deals and these long term. It's not really the universe I think we live in, and if you're capable of doing a lot of the shit yourself, and you can connect the dots, and you've worked a little bit before it to where a little bit of your name works in your favor, you do it. Do what you can do.
Did that come with all the time you've spent doing it? Did you
Yeah,
need
of
that
course.
behind you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't know that at 15. Or you do. Maybe this day and age is far different, you know. A lot of things are kind of like the bedroom producer doesn't there's no such thing as the bedroom producer. There's somebody who you make music, and if it works and it goes viral or connects or sounds relevant, right, to the climate right now, then it happens. So I guess no, you know, yeah, maybe a 15-year-old can do that very easily, be it, you know, bro step or trap or whatever it is, or a singer songwriter that puts a video up and goes viral. Yeah, that's, you know, I guess you don't need to have learned those lessons, but I think a lot of the process is built upon the foundation, or on the, you know, it's on the backs of people who had record deals and had to, you know, go to court, deal with litigation, struggle to get
Oh
records,
yeah.
struggle to get mechanicals and royalties and shit from publishing deals, and being poor, and your song is literally, you know, an iconic piece of Americana, but you don't get the royalties. That's just, I think, progress and evolution and society is built upon all of that, those sorts of things, right? So I was lucky enough to live in both worlds. I lived in the world of records, I lived in the world of MP3s, and now I live in the world of three worlds: the immediacy of complete internet universe. You know, that's beyond MP3s. MP3s are pretty irrelevant, I even think, at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was lucky; I got to see them all.
So you must be enjoying this landscape, because nowadays, and as you've proven with an element and Bear the Cross, you can put out whenever, with whoever, however. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there was at a certain time there was a need for the corporate machine, and that's maybe how the gears turned. And if it worked in your favor, that worked in your favor better than now does. You know, it has its ups and downs. I'm like half punk rock forever, like what I just am, and like I'm half in the public eye is doing some things that just peak above the surface. You know, so I've always had my feet in both places. It works for me, it works against me. I don't know, it is what it is. I don't fight technology. I don't fight progress. I'm fascinated by it, and I roll with it. I try to adapt.
Right on.
Well, we grew up with the same thing, right? We would go to the record store on Tuesday to buy CDs, buy records, whatever, when we were kids. And then it was everything's now online, but you got to pay $1 for a song, you got to pay $13, whatever, for a CD. And now today it's we pay $13, we get everything, which obviously sucks for a lot of musicians and people in that kind of middle class of music. But to see it evolve over time and continue to still be relevant is a testament to what you've been able to do over the years, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess as I'm a record, you know, a record guy. I'm a record collector. I love things. I'm a nerd. Like, I'm just a nerd. You know what I mean? So looking at it in that element, it's like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I adore who I adore. Yeah, I'm a fan. Like at the end of the day, I'm just a fan. I'm just a small person. I just do a very specific thing, and I'm a fan. And I admire the longevity people that are still around that made records. You know, affected the musical landscape from when I was young. So to look at it like that, it's, you know, I'm honored that anybody would follow the story this many years. Of course, I'm humbled and honored every fucking day of my life. You know, I'm not rich. I've done what I've done, and I know that it at least has touched, you know, the tiny demographic it may have touched. I'm honored. I'm a record collector. You know, it was all fantastical to me to be able to even step in the door at a younger age with Justin.
Well, as fans, I can feel the momentum build. Like a couple of years ago, it was Furnace Fest, and then the new song last year, and then you do those headlining gigs with Movie Life and Crime and Stereo, Shout Out Long Island, and Warped Tour. So there's momentum. Like, You must know that when you guys do these little breadcrumbs, people are going to be geeked out about it.
I mean, I don't really think about it. Like, it's hopeful. I don't really think of it. Like, I've never really thought, I don't know. I'm not like that. I'm almost intimidated by any sort of public element. Like, once it sort of reaches the public, it's not my personality to even, I don't pry, you know? I don't want to, some days I'm fragile. I'm a fragile creative guy, and some days I'm grumpy and don't care. But whatever I guess I am that day, it's just, I'm not the, I want it to work. I wouldn't put the work in if I didn't want it to work. I want to pay my bills. I want to pay my child's bills. I want it to work. I don't really care about legacy, but it would be nice if people, dig it. It's like, that's what I do.
You do have a big one, by the way.
A big what?
Legacy.
Yeah.
Oh, I was flattered. I thought you meant something.
You have a big legacy, and that's why, you're obviously in tune with your fans, just the cult following. Like, as soon as you wipe social media posts and, put out new song announcements, like it sets the internet on fire, which I guess you're right. It is what it is.
Yeah. If it works, it works. And that's good. And if it gets to a point where it's not sustainable for me, I'm a very down to earth New Yorker. I'm a very down to earth New Yorker, raised in a very down to earth environment. The day that it ceases to work, then I become what it takes for my life to work. But until then, I'll create things, and if that's the best way for me, I'm very, very lucky. Very lucky, Yeah, I'm a fan. I am a fan. And I don't think you can put things forth if you're not a fan. Maybe you can be a plumber if you're not a fan of plumbing, Maybe you could do that. Maybe you could be a computer and IT guy if you're not a fan of the company you're fixing the computers for. But I think in order to kind of do some things that you can't bullshit your way through, like some more passionate genres of music, like yelling your fucking ass off, or
Yeah.
edgy. I mean, you hear it if it's not real. I do mean it. I mean, every ounce of it. Musician, I'm an artist, and I'm a fan for all of that. And so I'm humbled. As long as it works, this is what I do. It's an honor. Every minute is a fucking honor.
That's a great way to look at it. And I love that. Anthony and I were talking the other night when we were getting ready to talk to you, and we listened through Decadence, we listened through Propaganda, we listened to the two new songs, and we're like, they're all their own vibe. And the two new songs have that new vibe, but it's still Head Automatica. Is that intentional? Do you guys do that on purpose?
I mean, it's just that it is Head Automatica, right? I feel like it wasn't going to be grindcore. It wasn't going to be, and then, just like industrial German, industrial ripping, like fucking like a locomotive with no dynamic. It wasn't going to be that. It wasn't going to be, jungle. It wasn't going to be death metal. It wasn't going to be, Trump supporter country. It wasn't going to be a couple of things, right? It was only a few things it was going to be. It makes sense. I'm being, funny. I'm being hyperbolic. It wasn't going to be anything but a logical progression of what it was. And that's kind of what I meant in the beginning. As soon as the sound in my head, the dots connected, it's like that's like what I do. I make bands up, and, that's what I do. And if I couldn't see my own band and its artwork and the fashion of it and the aesthetic, or if I couldn't feel the temperature in the room of that band, then I couldn't connect with it again to do it. So just once it made sense, I was like, oh, I see exactly what it sounds like. But it's still kind of vague enough in a lot of ways that it's, we have a lot of room to play around, which is
absolutely
great. Feels great. Yeah.
I'd love to get into the head of Daryl for a few days, because you have all these outlets like Glassjaw.
That's a bad one.
We're trying right now. Yeah.
Glassjaw, Head Automatica. I mean, those are the most prominent, but like, I remember House of Blow. I remember Geometry. I remember Color Film, United Nations. Like, there's all these homes for these outlets for you. And I'd love to like dissect how you determine what goes where.
I mean, they just are what they are. It's like the United Nations thing at the time that it's like, there's always a couple of guys in every town and every scene. And I was one of the San Diego noise record guy. Like, I love those, Gravity Records and Scream Dance and Ebullition Records. And I was one of them. That was my thing, So like, and Jeff, it's just that he was a very old school ass fucking Jersey hardcore guy who had very amazing shows at his house when we were young. He knew what I dug. We loved the same things. So they hollered at me. And if you're an East Coasty sort of hardcore guy from our time, you just like know that I played instruments and you wanted me to play. I played fast, noisy guitar. It's just like if maybe the Glassjaw universe didn't know that when out in the major label you land.
For sure. Yeah.
I knew I ripped and wanted to play fucking fast, jangly, fall on the floor, tight pants, chain wallet, silly, 1992.
Yeah. Yeah.
Homemade 7-inch fucking type of stuff. It wasn't like, hey, let's start a new band and this goes there, so let's make it. It's just obvious that a project would be, right? Geometry, that type of thing. That was like a bunch of older, rad musicians that were all in bands on like Walter and Sammy's label on like some records, and then they played in bands with Walter, and they were in the band J Majesty that was on some record. Like these were just like very rad, hip, older dudes that kind of just want to be in it. I was just like, I was honored to play with them, play with shows with Walter at the time. I guess different projects, and people know I can keep a tune. I have a sort
a little bit, yeah.
I mean, I do what I do. It's not, yeah.
Dude, this is what I want to get in your head, man. This is what I want to get in your head. It's like
that's it. No, it is what it is. People just know I like a lot of shit. I was a record collector. I was always excited, very excitable about the things I like. Very nerdy, and so it's like, oh yeah, Daryl would be fun for this.
Do you ever wake up and you're like, well, this is going to be a Head Automatica day, or this is going to be United Nations Day, or is it like wherever the
what it is?
You?
I wake up at 6 a.m. and I go, this is going to be get my son out of bed, get him to school, make him waffles, hang out, watch an episode of a Star Wars TV show, talk about it, get in the car, quiz him on a spelling test, get him to school. I turn around and it's like 10 p.m. and I've just showered a 7-year-old and put
the day's over, Daryl. The day's over.
Yeah. So which day is it going to be? I would have to have set aside a week, 2 months in advance with my partner. And so I don't know damn well that week. Yeah, fucking week. That's what that is. Yeah, no, I'm older. It's like, it's different. It's different. I'm not in Manhattan. I'm not a bartender in Manhattan waking up in the village.
Right.
Today's going to be the day that I start my alt country band.
Hey, I would listen.
I would listen to that. Yeah.
Don't you fucking tell me that. You ain't hearing that. That ain't happening.
I mean, I'd be curious for sure.
Nah, man. I'll be with Ghostface and the RZA. You guys can get that.
That too. Yeah.
Yeah,
They just announced their last tour today.
I know, dude. With my man LP, my boy Jamie. I just had the fucking conversation 2 seconds ago. I was like, good for Jamie, man. It's gorgeous. There's nothing better than the Woo, and there's nothing cooler than Jamie.
Yeah, that's a Boston. I think is our July date. We're not gonna have to get down to that one, Anthony.
Fucking better. You crazy? See fucking Tony, the chef, Cap the Don, Prince Rakeem, Genius.
I'm so in. So Daryl, I'm listening to your words a little bit, and it sounds like there could be more music, maybe not. So like, how back is Head Automatica?
Oh, it's on.
It's on. I love it.
Lots of music is not stopping. It's here. Nothing stops. Nothing ever stops. As soon as you see it happen, that means it will be constant. Yeah.
Nice.
New music, very new music soon. There's lots of completed music. I would say that confidently.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you're staying busy. You're going out with Glassjaw. I think you're playing in Boston too, with Poison the Well, right?
You gotta come say hi.
Big one. I know. We've talked about that.
We're up in Maine. We're up in Maine, so it's close.
Oh yeah, it's close. Maine, all places I've spent lots of time.
Yeah.
I played shows, millions of them there, but I don't think I've spent much time in Maine.
It's a lot of people say that. It's okay.
Yeah, there's less Wu-Tang Clan in Maine, so I kind of was
true.
Fighter for me.
So is Head going to get out back there? I know the Warped Tour announcement is out there, but any other headlining gigs like the Movie Life crime shows?
Yeah, constantly. Everything's happening. Yep. Announcements slowly, and lots of Glassjaw evidently happening too, right?
Oh wow! Yeah, I mean, hey,
there's a lot.
We'll take it all in 2025. That's great.
I'll take it too. Hopefully, my I don't have a heart attack. My body don't give out. My son to get his homework done when I'm away. Hopefully, we can all fucking make it work.
Time check. You probably got to get out of here soon, right?
I don't know. You tell me. You guys
you said 15 minutes, but we're cooking. This is fun, Daryl. This is for me and Tony. This is 25, 29, 27. I don't know, a lot of years in the making, chatting with you.
No, very sweet of you. You're very friendly. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm a tiny, meek, intimidated guy.
Well, we understand that. Well, just starting this thing on a whim 5 years ago, that anybody like you or any of your contemporaries, Vinny, any of those guys, Alex from Crime and Stereo, would talk to us. So we love that we get to do stuff like this with you.
Thank you. Very kind for having me, man. I appreciate it.
One last question for you, Daryl, if you're down. How good is your recall memory of like certain gigs?
I have like the craziest memory. When it applies to certain things, it's frightening how my memory. I have like next level, but as for certain things, I won't remember anything at all.
We're gonna test you.
I don't remember a lot of any of. I'll say that.
You might remember this because it's one of the few times you're in Maine.
Ah, good. Yeah. I'll go Maine. All right, go ahead.
So, a lot of people have not seen Head Automatica, but we have. So, July 2005.
Okay.
A venue called The Station, Portland, Maine. Do you remember it? Headlining gig, Head Automatica?
Nah, I really don't remember 2005.
It was a pool hall. It was a pool hall with a very, very like steep staircase.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. I remember about half of 2005, so I'm right there with you.
Crazy. It's hard to go. It's like 94 on was rough. It was wild. So, no, I don't remember. I know the name. Definitely, yeah. But, well, I don't know why. Did I act like a total ass?
No, it's just a weird venue in a small state. So it
was the only time we saw you. It was the only time we saw Head.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh,
and,
cool. We'll be back.
Crowds singing along the whole time, and it was
really good. Oh, good.
Yeah, it's one of these places where you can touch the ceiling. I mean, it's one of those vibes.
Hang from the ceiling. Yep.
I went.
Yeah, you probably hung from the ceiling.
I'm sure I went crazy, and I wish I remembered
it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're stoked to be able to talk to you today, Daryl, and we're excited for all of the things coming from Head Automatica and other stuff too throughout the year, but Head Automatica mainly right now. So haven't gotten a couple songs. We're stoked, man.
That's great. Thanks, man. We're actually recording Head Automatica. We're recording right now.
Oh, nice.
I'm sitting outside in the rain. He's cranking. We've been working on for a while. So yeah.
That's cool.
Well, hey, we don't want to impede progress. Like, if the album's delayed, it's our fault.
Yeah, don't blame us.
No, my dog has been impeding all progress. I have so yeah, don't worry about you guys. You guys are right on. It's perfect. No, thank you. You're very kind. I appreciate you even saying any of this shit you said, man. Thanks. I hope to meet you in person.
That'd be great.
Well, Boston. There might be a chance in Boston. We're gonna try to get down to that Glassjaw gig.
Do it or hit me on social media. No, I don't know how to sign into most of it. On it, I'll hook you up. Don't bite nothing, and we'll meet. Okay.
Awesome, man. Yeah.
Daryl, this was awesome, my friend. Thank you.
No doubt. Thanks, man. All right, guys. Good to meet you.
Thank you for listening to Podioslave. We are at Podioslave on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places that you can find us on social media. Facebook, Podioslave Podcast. YouTube, Podioslave Podcast there. Email us at podioslavepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, if you want to become a supporter, click on the link at the bottom of the episode and give us $1, give us $5. It keeps the lights on, keeps us going. We really appreciate that stuff. Thank you.